And here is the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Their record is 2-8. That is Dave Shula as he turns now. And Bill Cowher. And what a job he has done with the Steelers. They are, as we mentioned earlier, 9-3. The Steelers won the toss. And Charles Johnson, CJ, is the deep back on the kickoff return for Pittsburgh. And he'll take it at the 9-yard line. He's out to the 20. The 25 has an opening. Cuts to the near side. Outstanding return. Down the sideline, 40, 35, 30, finally taken out of bounds. Charles Johnson, rookie, Colorado, #1 draft choice.
This is really a problem area for the Cincinnati Bengals. You saw Lee Johnson kick off. They don't get their kickoffs very deep, and their coverage has not been very good. Catching it on the 9, watch him start up the middle, break outside, and now it's just Johnson's speed and natural instincts kicking in. Got a missed tackle right there, but really that was set up earlier in the return by the fake of the entire return in.
By Charles Johnson. The Steelers go to work at the Bengals 20-yard line. And the give is to John L. Williams. And he'll pick up a yard, maybe a couple of yards. That is it. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, here's their offensive line, led by their center, DeMonte Johnson, and we've got flags and pushing and shoving already.
You got swings, and you got a real serious fight that started, Charlie. This is the kind of thing the league's cracking down on. We might have an ejection here early. That involved Jackson, the left tackle, 65, and Alfred Williams, that we just got done talking about.
We have offsetting, unnecessary roughness fouls. Both teams after the play. Penalties offset, second down.
That happens, Charlie, anytime but the beginning of the game. Those guys are out of here, I think.
Backs and receivers as we go back to the lineup. Bam Morris will have to carry the load as Barry Foster's out with a bruised back.
They go to that third wide receiver. Charles Johnson, the rookie, comes in. Has a little bit of a problem getting off the line of scrimmage, but they like getting the ball in the nickel. He's a lot more open.
And you saw a moment ago on the kickoff return that he can truly fly. And O'Donnell to throw. Good protection. Just dumps it off right side. Here's Van Morris. He's going to have a couple of yards, and that's going to be a James Francis. Is the man who stops him. Cincinnati's defense, front 7 defensive tackles. Keith Rucker and Dan Wilkinson, a big push up the middle. And in the secondary, Snake Vincent replaces the injured Lewis Oliver at strong safety.
They bring the rookie in from Florida State, Corey Sawyer, when they go to the nickel. Sawyer's a gambler. Real athletic, real smart, knows where to pick his spots. Look for him to try to jump on anything and try to see if the Pittsburgh Steelers will take advantage of that with some play action.
17-yard line, third down and 7. And O'Donnell to throw. Again, good protection. Has an open man. It's Van Morris. He's got the first down 5-yard line. James Francis again with a stop for Cincinnati.
So far, it's a little bit out of the Pittsburgh character in that you gave the first ball to John L. Williams on a run, and you've really thrown the last couple to your runner, and that's Bam Morris, who's starting for Barry Foster, who's out with that leg injury. Everybody's covered downfield, and this is the luxury of this offense where Ron Earhart loves to dump the ball out into the flats as a coordinator to his running back. And when you can hit a 250-pound running back in the flat, that is a mismatch on defensive backs.
And it's first down and goal to go at the 5-yard line. And here's that mismatch again, but this time the Bengal defense is there to stop Bam Morris. Keith Rucker, who weighs in at 340, stops the 250-pound Bam Morris. That is a collision.
It certainly is. You know, Charlie, with this defense right now, they are pumped up. They played extremely well the last month or so, played real well last time against Neil O'Donnell in this Pittsburgh offense. And they're, at the moment, sort of out-woofing the Pittsburgh Steelers because they're talking to these guys an awful lot. That was a byproduct of the first fight between Jackson and Williams.
Second down, goal to go. And it is Van Morris, right side. And he is going to be right on the goal line, but yes, it is a touchdown. As he barely breaks the play, and the Steelers are on the scoreboard, set up by the 71-yard kickoff return by Charles Johnson.
Now watch the cross blocking inside. The Pittsburgh Steelers are excellent at this. Dermontti Johnson blocks back. Jason Strelsick gets a good block, and you just need a crack for a back the size of Bam Morris.
Whoa, that was very close. It looked as if for a moment.
Down, half a yard to go.
No, they replay it. They say no, he did not go in. And we'll take another look.
Watch the ball, watch the knees. As he's going to the ground, he sort of skids in. 1, 2, down, ball. Ball was on the half-foot line. Good call.
So with the corrected call, it will be 3rd down and goal to go. And you have the feeling you're going to see the same play again.
Well, when it's Foster and Morris, it's 1-2 punch. Punch number 1 is Foster. Punch number 2 is Morris. You're going to see a lot of that second punch repeatedly for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a forte of Morris, getting in from the outside.
And John L. Williams will be the lead blocker. He is behind him over the top and into the end zone for the touchdown. And the spot. So a 20-yard drive in 6 plays. For Bam Morris, that is his 6th touchdown of the year.
You saw Alfred Williams give Bam Morris a little shot. I think Alfred needs to cool his jets a little bit after having a big game last time against the Steelers. The last thing this Bengal defense needs is for a guy like him to get chucked out of the game for being over-aggressive.
And the extra point is up, and it is good. We'll step aside for a moment. Steelers are on top 7-0. Here is another look at the score.
Air Bam. 250, 4 feet off the ground, 6 points.
Onward.
This is Charlie Jones and Randy Cross, and the Steelers made an early statement.
They definitely did. Very, very physical, and it started with that kickoff return. They're out to control special teams. They're out to control offense. They're out to control defense. All 3 stages. They did it last week against the Raiders. The challenge for the Bengals now is their young quarterback, Blake, is in a hole, and Cowher's defense will come after Blake now.
Pittsburgh kicking on. And the return from the 11-yard line is Eric Hall. And Steve Avery makes the tackle. And here is Jeff Blake, and he has captured the heart of this city. Here is his offensive line, a change at right tackle. Bruce Kozerski will be starting for Eric Moore, who is inactive. Backs and receivers, the Bengals will go with their big backfield. Jeff Cothran at 250, Derek Finner at 230. They're starting as the running back.
And their 3rd wide receiver will be Tim McGee. To look for also Jeff Query, number 89, who has been activated for the first time in about a month. He's a speed guy.
And Cincinnati starts from their own 30-yard line, and they'll start through the air. Down the sideline, has a man, waits, pass is complete. It is Carl Pickens. 13-yard line. And all of a sudden, the Bengals make their statement.
And the statement's very similar to what Jeff Blake told us yesterday, Charlie. He said, I'm not doing anything different for this defense. What I do best is I put the ball up where I think it should be, and I let my guys go get it. And his number 1 guy of going to get it is Pickens right now, since he's joined this team 5 weeks ago as his starter. That quarterback, Pickens, has really stepped up his game.
And the ball at the Steelers 13-yard line, and now the second offensive play from scrimmage for the Bengals. The first one netted 57 yards. And Blake hands off. And this is Broussard. Broussard is going to pick up, maybe 6 yards where Rod Woodson makes the tackle. Steelers defense at front 7, the linebackers, Kevin Green and Greg Lloyd. Between them, they have a total of 21 quarterback sacks. Secondary, free safety number 39, Darren Perry. He has 6 interceptions.
And in the dime, they'll bring in McKyer and Jones. And what this defense has seen so far is an offense that's saying to them, hey, maybe you have us confused with somebody that's impressed with your NFL ranking.
And Blake to throw, sets up, fires, throws it away. This is one of the things he told us that he would do. Very conscious of the pressure that he's going to get, like from Ray Seals that he got there. He's going to set up very quickly, make a quick decision, and throw. If it's not there, he's going to throw it away.
Yeah, he said, I get to my 3rd step or I get to my 5th step, that ball's got to be gone. And as you saw, Charlie, right there, he got the quick pressure. But when you're dropping 3 and letting it go, there is no pressure that can get there in time to stop you from throwing the ball.
Steve Broussard and Jeff Cothran are the setbacks. Broussard a surprise. And time is called. As Blake is running out of time, he takes the timeout. We'll step aside. We'll be back in a moment.
With Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. By Little Caesars Pizza, where you always get 2 great pizzas for one low price. By Compaq, look for the new Presario computers for that small business you call home. And by ITT, building businesses into leaders.
Third down and 4. The ball at the 7-yard line. The eyes of the young quarterback, Jeff Blake. Blake sets up very quickly, goes underneath the coverage, pass is complete. Carl Pickens, touchdown Cincinnati. Their answering statement. That is number 7 on the year for Pickens.
Like I said, maybe the Pittsburgh defense is confused and that they've got this Bengals offense confused for somebody that really cares that they're one of the top defenses in the league. And so far, David Shula's quarterback, Jeff Blake, has just come out just gunning.
And here is the extra point attempt. It is good. We are tied at 7.
Well, it's only been 2 passes so far, Charlie, but you got to say that Blake and this offense is going after Deion Figures, number 21, off to the left side. Quick drop. You see his steps. He took that 3rd step, a short drop, and then it was right there behind Lloyd and in front of Figures for 6. And he's throwing that ball to the guy he's clicked with real steady for the last 7 weeks, to Pickens.
Now, Carl Pickens has 100-plus games the last 3 games, and he's well on his way to another one. With his 7th touchdown reception, he is already over 60 yards in this ballgame.
Well, the things that the Bengals and their offensive coordinator, Bruce Cosset, liked the most about this young quarterback, you saw him zip that one ball in there, and the other one, you know the term, Charlie, laying the ball in just right? He dropped the ball in. That's Bruce Cosset with the headset and the glasses in the middle, and Bruce says he throws a very good variety of balls for a young, inexperienced quarterback. You mentioned the fact today's his 24th birthday. He has functionally 7 games of NFL experience, and he's already developing the variety of passes.
But when we talked to him yesterday, I thought one of the interesting things that he said to us, he said, it's a game, it's football. It's not, he said, we've been playing football all of our lives. I have been a quarterback all of my life. And how has he done as a quarterback in the NFL in now just a few short weeks?
How would you like to negotiate that contract? Let's take those numbers in and see what they have to say to you.
All right. C.J. Charles Johnson is deep. Earlier he went 71 yards. Bounces off of one of the up-backs. Johnson picks it up. He's to the 20. Tries the far side. Flag is down. 28-yard line. Well, now we'll check out the flag. The Steelers obviously not starting with the same field position that they had earlier. Santos Stevens makes a tackle for the Bengals, and here's the call. It will go against the Steelers. And so Pittsburgh will be moving on offense for the 2nd time in the ballgame.
Illegal block in the back. Number 90, receiving team during the return. 10 yards, first down.
That's on Jeff Scanino.
Let's see what the foul and exactly how it happened. Watch the right side of the screen. Right there, pushing the back. Number 90. Going to the ground, giving that little push. And you know what the Steelers have done? They came out and they got the touchdown. They quieted the crowd down. The 80s, this place was referred to as the jungle. And as a visiting team, this place can be a jungle if you let the Bengals stay in it.
Mills comes across in motion. Here is Van Morris off the right side. He has running room out to the 20-yard line. Darrell Williams makes the tackle. Gain of 8 yards, 2nd and 2.
You know, nicknames are kind of funny things. Your sportscasters like to hand those out, but this is a nickname that really fits this young guy's running style, and that's BAM. Because that is the first sound that comes to mind when he makes contact with defensive players.
He is a rookie taken in the 3rd round of the draft. Played his collegiate ball at Texas Tech, where he broke Earl Campbell's Southwest Conference single-season rushing record. And he gets another call, this time off of the left side. And he is going to pick up a yard. Remember, he needed 2. It's going to be 3rd down and 1. Steve Tovar with the tackle.
Now, one thing that's different about the offensive line of Pittsburgh now that I mentioned is this is an offensive line that likes to do a lot of different kind of blocking combinations. It's funny to listen to defenders talk about a Pittsburgh line as being a finesse line. But watch for the different blocking combinations as tackles and tight ends, guards working with centers, centers working with guards. It's something that Ron Earhart, the offensive coordinator, didn't have in New York. With the Giants, they were very much a zone blocking, smash you in the face type of an offense. He's adjusted this offense to the pulling talents of these smaller linemen.
Van Morris, 5 carries, 14 yards, has the touchdown. And he gets the call, has it. 27-yard line, 1st down. Darrell Williams makes the tackle.
Remember, we're talking about a 3rd and 1 play. Watch the lane that opens up right through this little hole I'm drawing right here. Watch the lane. This is unbelievable. Short yardage. Wow. That does not normally happen against a short yardage defense, and that's those blocking combinations of the offensive line I was talking about.
It's a 1st down at the 27-yard line. A change in the offensive line for the Steelers. Pass out of the backfield to John L. Williams. Let's give him a yard to the 28. It'll be 2nd down and 9. A moment ago, John Jackson, he of the Darth Vader visor, came limping out, and Ariel Solomon has replaced him. And there he's back in. He's been bothered by a knee injury, and perhaps it bothered him just a little bit. So he is. I love that visor on. Doesn't it look perfect?
Well, Pittsburgh has something.
On a dark, rainy afternoon.
The rest of these teams don't have. They have a very thick barred face mask. They look like throwbacks to the 50s.
2nd and 9. Van Morris spinning at the line of scrimmage, but he is wrapped up by Big Daddy, Dan Wilkinson. 6'5", 315 pounds.
This young defensive tackle, I think, has got kind of a bad rap, and the people say he's been disappointing. All he's done this year is he's learned his techniques, he's learned his defense, and he's basically taking care of the area he plays in. Remember, this guy's a defensive tackle. He's not a defensive end who plays out in air and has all kinds of natural moves and freelancing abilities. He's got the gap to his left and the gap to his right, and that big guy takes care of those gaps.
From the shotgun. Good protection, goes deep, pass is caught. Steelers are now 4 for 4 in 3rd down conversion, and it's a 300-pound tight end, Eric Green, who pulls it in.
Well, you said it, Charlie. If you need a big play, you go to your battle star. Big number 86 is going to be on a crossing pattern. Great protection on a blitz by the offensive line. Gives Green time to come all the way from the right slot position he was in as a stand-up tight end position. And you don't get any better in the NFL than that big guy right there, because not only he's an excellent receiver, he's very, very underrated for his ability to block.
Battle star. More like a battleship. Here's Van Morris. Turns the corner. Flag is down. He is across the 50-yard line. We'll check out the marker. Steve Tovar makes the tackle. It will go against the Steelers. Morris has great acceleration.
He's got great acceleration for a guy who's 250. He has great acceleration for a guy who's 210 pounds.
That's right.
Holding, number 87 offense, 10 yards, repeat 1st down.
That's on Craig Keith.
And these are kind of the little rough edges that Bill Cowher comes into a game like this against an opponent who's 2-10 that he knows can slow you down and put you in trouble against a team by all rights you should beat in this football game. You get penalties at bad times, you get things going, it stops your momentum, and it makes the whole process extremely halting, and it puts you into a punching contest with somebody you should knock out.
1st down and 20. O'Donnell to throw. He looks for a screen, sets it, and it is dropped. Morris drops it. So it'll be 2nd down and 20. In case you just joined us, here's what happened. Charles Johnson of the Steelers took the opening kickoff 71 yards, and that set up a short touchdown drive for the Steelers with Bam Morris going in from a yard out. The Bengals came right back. The big play, 57-yard pass from Jeff Blake to Carl Pickens, and that set it up at the 13-yard line, and they went in from there to score. And he scored to Pickens, and we're tied at 7, and we have just under 5 minutes left to go in the first.
Alfred Williams coming out, must be a little banged up. He's the #1 pass rusher for this Bengals defense. You know this is a situation where Neil O'Donnell is not going to gun it down the field 20 yards, Charlie. It's about a 15-yard pass. Let his receiver do the rest.
Second down and 20. Again, good protection. Now he runs out of time, and he's throwing it away. Now they could call and there's the flag.
Yep. He was still in the pocket.
Yes. And also in the pocket was Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson and Keith Rucker. He has to get outside the tight end to be able to do that. Also, he has to throw the ball at the line or past the line of scrimmage.
Well, there's running scared from a rush, and there's running smart. You know, that's 340 and 315 pounds going after you right there between Wilkinson and Rucker. You want to get out of the way of that because that's going to hurt if it lands on you.
Offensive.
Still inside the pocket.
Still in the pocket. Threw the ball away. The spot of the foul is more than 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Therefore, it has lost him down at the spot of the foul. Third down.
Joe, it is third down and almost forever as the crowd gets into it. Sellout crowd here at Riverfront Stadium. Third and 34. Third and 35. It's even longer than we thought. Here's a screen. And we have a flag down. And they may just blow the play dead.
And the play was blown dead before the play started.
And with the crowd noise here, you simply couldn't hear it.
Full start before the snap. Number 65 offense. 5 yards. Still third down.
And that's on John Jackson. It will now be third down and 40.
Well, you can see a lot of the tackles from here on out for Pittsburgh if this pace holds up, jumping off sides, because Bill Cowher knows very well, and his offensive coordinator Ron Earhart knows very well that this crowd noise, the tackles will not be able to hear the quarterback. It gets loud enough, the guards can't hear Neil O'Donnell. This will be a sight snap.
And the draw slipping is John L. Williams. And he's going to end up with about 3 to the 17-yard line. Covered there by Tim Crumry at age 34. And the Steelers will be kicking it away. That means that Mark Royals comes in. And Cincinnati should have very good field position. Royals is an excellent kicker. He's a better punter for position. He does not kick for distance that often. He needs to here.
That whole drive was set up or killed by that holding penalty on the second play of the drive.
Corey Sawyer and Carl Pickens are the return men. And here is Pickens down the sideline. He's to the 50. Tightrope, steps out of bounds. A good return. The Bengals now with very good field position. We are tied at 7 when we come back. Blake off to a dynamite start. He's completed 2 of 3 for 63 yards, including the touchdown to Carl Pickens. 45-yard line to the Steelers. What do you expect?
I think you throw the ball, and I think you keep going after Deion Figures over here with Pickens.
Pinner is the remaining back. 3-step drop. And he goes deep down the far side, and it is laid in, and it is no good. Pickens, the intended receiver. This time the battle was with Rod Woodson.
And obviously Jeff Blake sending a message that I'm an equal opportunity kind of guy. I'm going after both these corners. And there's no immunity for all pros and whatnot in this situation. Perfectly thrown ball, just a little bit outside. They will go back to that repeatedly. The question is, when do they go to Darnay Scott, who is a guy that he even has better chemistry with, Blake does, after working with him on the scout team, and actually has better speed than Pickens.
Second down and 10. Ball game tied at 7. The wraparound draw. That is Jeff Cochran. This is a play created like so much of football by the late great Paul Brown, former owner, general manager, and head coach here, and that is you just go past it and you step forward on the draw. And the idea is they think, well, it's not going to be a draw, and it's a wraparound.
Well, it didn't fool anybody, especially not LaVon Kirkland, who gets in there the whole time. Chad Brown's there, Kirkland's there, Lloyd's there. You're not going to beat this defense by being cute and fooling them. You're going to beat this defense if you beat them with big plays.
3rd down and 12. Pressure, dumps it off just in time. This is Broussard, and he is wrapped up after about 4. Ray Seals makes a tackle for the Steelers.
Now here's what you expected the Steelers to do on this series, and that's come after Blake. Chad Brown coming from one side, Kevin Green coming from the other side, Brenson Buckner coming from the inside. He just did get that off. Great linebacker support in the second tier of defense to get the tackle.
And here is Lee Johnson to catch. He wants just to set it up and let it float down, and it does, and goes out of bounds in the neighborhood of the 16-yard line. We'll step aside. We are tied at 7. Back in a moment.
Bengals defensive coordinator Larry Peccatello firmly believes in order to be successful against this Steelers defense, your front 4 has to stuff the run, pressure the quarterback, and the secret really is your 7 guys, linebackers and defensive backs, have to stop the pass.
Ball just outside the 15-yard line. Neal wants to throw on 1st down. He dumps it off to Van Morris. He's going to pick up about 4 on the play, and that will be it. Steve Tovar with the tackle.
And that play right there was a pretty good example of what we were just talking about. The 4 defensive linemen were rushing, and the rest of the defense, the linebackers were one picket fence of the zone short. The next picket fence with the defensive backs behind them were set back there, and the linebackers come forward and make the tackles. Everything happens in front of you.
The ball just shy of the 20-yard line. Van Morris. And he's got a couple to the 22.
Big Daddy again getting in on that play. I mean, here's a young guy whose confidence, I think, week by week is growing. Here he is working against Duval Love. That is a classic example. You saw the headbutt in the middle, grab him by the shoulders, twist the body, throw him to the ground, and use that natural God-given strength. This is a guy that can physically stay with any offensive lineman in the NFL.
O'Donnell to throw on 3rd down. Flag is down as he goes to Andy Thigpen. If the play stands up, they will once again convert on 3rd down, but there's a flag.
That play is going to be holding. I think Duval Love, I know Duval Love tackled Big Daddy on the rush, Wilkinson. Whether or not they're going to call it on him, I don't know.
Holding, number 67 offense, 10 yards, repeat 3rd down.
That's Duval Love.
Watch number 99. Quick slap down of the arm, swims over, and a good form tackle by the left guard, Duval Love, the veteran who used to be with the Los Angeles Rams. I've mentioned before, not a big physical offensive line. Physically inside, the Bengals have a mismatch with their defensive tackles.
Big Daddy's speed in the 40 is 4.65. O'Donnell from the shotgun. As time goes far side, and the pass is caught right on the sideline. Yancey Thigpen. The Bengals were gambling in the secondary. Corey Sawyer could not make the play. They were going for the interception.
I talked about the young, aggressive defensive back. Look at Corey Sawyer. Going in there he caught the back half of the ball. Unfortunately for him, he didn't catch the middle of the ball.
And once again, the Steelers convert on 3rd down.
That's about as close as the young guy could come. Look at him talking to the guys on the sideline. Puts his hands out like, I had it. It was in my hands. I had the back half of it. Well, Thigpen had the front and the middle.
And the Steelers have the 1st down.
Bounds. Please reset the game clock to 31 seconds. 31 seconds.
Speaking of numbers, remember a moment ago I mentioned the 40 time of Big Daddy, 4.65? Well, they talk about the quarterback of the Bengals, young Jeff Blake, and he's a scrambler and has great speed and great quickness. His time is 4.67. Big Daddy's quicker than he is.
Jeff's very, very lucky because he doesn't have to be chased by his teammate.
First down, Pittsburgh. Ball game tied at 7. We're coming to the last few seconds of the first quarter. On the draw, John L. Williams to the 31-yard line, so he's got 5 on the play. James Francis with the tackle. And we'll take the countdown to the end of the first quarter. So here at Riverfront Stadium, after the first, we are tied at 7. Back with the second quarter in a moment. As we start the second quarter, here in Cincinnati, this ball game is tied at 7. O'Donnell comes out throwing. This time the Yancey thick pin, and he is out of bounds at the 40-yard line right in front of the bench of the Cincinnati Bengals, and Rod Jones makes the play.
What's really set that up for the Steelers is Neil O'Donnell reads the blitz. He's getting inside from defensive coordinator Larry Peccatello, and Thigpen is ready to cut off his route and knows the ball's in the air because that ball is thrown by Neil O'Donnell well before he gets into his break point.
You mentioned earlier a ball game that the Steelers, heavy favorites, that they ought to be able to beat the Cincinnati Bengals, although the Bengals playing much better over the last 5 or 6 weeks. And O'Donnell turns and he hands off to Van Morris. And he'll get a couple of yards on the play. But when we talked with Neil O'Donnell yesterday, he had an interesting statement, and he said it comes right from the coaches. There's not a bad NFL team. There are only NFL teams that have bad records. You catch them on the right Sunday, and you wonder, who are those people on the other side?
See, Charlie, this is a team in the Pittsburgh Steelers that wants to be a Super Bowl team, wants to be considered one of the elite teams in the NFL. And if you want to be one of those teams, there's certain games you have to play very businesslike, go about your job the way it's got to be done, and you just flat out are better and you beat somebody. You don't keep them in the game.
Right now, the Bengals right in the middle of this one. Ball game tied 7-7 and overthrown the Yancey thick pin, so it will be 3rd down and 8 for the Steelers. Now, they have been feasting on 3rd downs. They have converted 5 of 6 3rd down opportunities in the ballgame.
And that's really by virtue of pure execution, most of it coming from that gentleman right there, from Neil O'Donnell, who's put the ball right on the mark on his passes. The key for O'Donnell in his offense on this play right here is I think they're going to get a blitz from the other side of the field, and it's going to be getting the ball off quickly. If it's not in front of or past the first down marker, his receiver's going to have to get the first down after he catches it.
And still one more announcement from Gordon McCarter, the referee. They're resetting the clock. He is getting more on-camera time than the quarterback. 3rd and 8. Over the middle, pass is complete. It'll be a first down. Ernie Mills pulls it in. That is his first reception of the ball game and only his 11th of the year.
Now watch as he comes in from the right side of your screen. This is just your basic zone drop defense. O'Donnell throws the ball to a point, and the best part about this right there is the fact that Mills is catching the ball, and he knows that Fernandez Vincent is going to hit him, and he holds on to it.
And the Steelers now converted 6 of 7. 3rd down opportunity. And O'Donnell to throw again. Has lots of time, steps out of the pocket, sets, throws, and it is incomplete. Too high for Thigpen to pull down. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And it was Artie Smith in hot pursuit for Cincinnati.
Well, really, though, on that play, Charlie, it was mission accomplished for the defense of the Cincinnati Bengals because unlike Jeff Blake, who does move around pretty good outside the pocket, if you can get Neil O'Donnell on a pretty good diet of running outside the pocket and trying to throw the ball on the run, he's playing right into your hands.
And we're coming up now to the 11th play of this drive for the Steelers. They started back at their own 16-yard line. And here's Van Morris to the right side, around the corner. And he carries everybody with him. He was hit at the 41-yard line, and he added 4 more steps before Tim Crumry could join his friends and bring him down.
Remember the old Flintstone cartoons when the kid from the Rubbles kid, Bam Bam, had slammed that club on the ground saying, bam, 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 bam. Here's the Pittsburgh version. Bam, 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 bam. You say it first, you know, gee, this Pittsburgh offense doesn't have much vertical to it. The best part of the vertical part of the offense is the running backs they have, and the best running back today they're going to have all day is going to be Van Morris, because their other 1-2 part of the punch, Foster, is not in.
And about to run out of time, so they'll take a timeout. We'll step aside. We are tied at 7. We'll be back in a moment. Guess what? For the Steelers, it is 3rd down. They have converted 6 of 7 third down opportunities. This is one of their short ones. 3rd down and 1.
It's more like a 1.5 feet or so for the first down, and this is a situation you got a running back who's got a hot hand like Van Morris. See no reason to stop doing what you're doing best inside.
They go with the quarterback's knee. And it's going to be close.
It's going to be very, very close.
You should pick it up. The eye contact says, well, he's running into Dan Wilkinson, Big Daddy at 315 pounds. Keith Rucker at 340 pounds. Maybe he did not make it. And so we'll have the change come out for the first time this afternoon. There's still just a bit of moisture in the air, just a very light drizzle. It started raining last night, and the drizzle went on all night long and then throughout the day today.
They made that just by the back of that ball that Corey Sawyer tried to catch. Just
right.
the very last part of the football got Bill Cowher that first down.
So they've now converted 7 of 8 third down opportunities.
So far they've made no threat down the field on the Cincinnati defense.
Play action fake on first down. Wanting to go deep, comes back, throws it away. In reality, Ernie Mills, the intended receiver, but he was throwing it away. As we go to New York, Greg Gumbel and an update.
All right, Charlie, a follow-up on Seahawks running back Chris Warren. Jim Gray tells us that Warren will play for the Seahawks despite the 2 cracked ribs he suffered in an auto accident 3 days ago. Seattle plays Indianapolis in a late game today. Let's go back to Cincinnati.
All right, Greg, thank you for that update. As we come back, Neil O'Donnell just missing on the pass. Now has completed 8 of 14 for 68 yards. A quick look at his numbers. 2nd down and 10. And he hands off to Bam Morris. And Bam's going to pick up 5 or 6 yards right up the middle. Ricardo McDonald with the tackle.
This play was a definition of a delay draw. Watch how delayed Morris is. He gets the ball. He stood there. Then he goes. Now he's just trying to explode up into the middle of the defense. Ricardo McDonald got him by the legs. Darrell Williams got him up top. Now this brings Eric Green into the equation from a passing standpoint for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3rd and medium.
They need 5. They've converted on all but 1 third down opportunity. They do it again. This time it's Yancey Thigpen. They have now converted on 8 of 9 third downs. Roger Jones with the tackle.
Well, Neil O'Donnell had his selection. He had Green open over the middle. He had Yancey Thigpen open on this side. He actually had Mills open on the other side. A very soft zone. If Cincinnati keeps up with this soft zone, they will give up those short runs. Like I said, keeping everything in front of them. You just saw John Jackson. He was limping earlier, maybe on that knee. You mentioned Charlie's been bothering him. That is a blow for this offensive line.
The ball at the 17-yard line of Cincinnati. The Steelers with a first down. Ball game tied at 7. And Neil O'Donnell takes another timeout. That is his 2nd. They were running out of time on the play clock. We'll be back in a moment.
Of the concept car you can drive, the 1995 Riviera, by the Citizen Watch Company. Citizen is how the world tells time. by the American Express card. Don't leave home without it. And by Wendy's. After 25 years, quality is still our recipe.
As we come back to Cincinnati, the ballgame tied Steelers 7, Bengals 7. This is the 16th play of the Steelers drive. They've moved 69 yards, and guess what? They've used almost 7 minutes of the clock. And here is Van Morris to the right side with John L. Williams out in front. A flag is down, and he is out after a gain of 9 yards and a little bit more as Fernandez Vincent, the snake, pushed him out of bounds. And now we'll check out the flag.
A little bit more. I think it's going to be a couple of holding calls. One on the outside, one on the inside.
Two calls against the offense. Number 86 holding. Number 22 holding.
That's Eric Green first and John L. Williams the second.
Once again, the Steelers offense at a bad time. Charlie gets a penalty. Watch Green, number 86, coming into the back, just riding down. That's a lot of things, but that is not holding. Now on the outside, I think I got to agree with that hold out there. I saw that one, but one inside is a little bit so-so. But Bill Cowher knows that a hold, I mean, a great long drive like you just mentioned, Charlie, but then you get a holding penalty.
They accepted the hold that you like.
They like that one?
They turned out the other one.
Oh, okay.
All right. That, by the way, is the 6th penalty for 60 yards against the Steelers in the first half. The Bengals, no yards, no penalty.
That's what we've been talking about, Charlie. The superior team finds a way to keep messing up to give the team they should beat life. This is a classic example of an underdog taking advantage of another team's mistakes.
And now Neil O'Donnell takes his 3rd timeout. The Steelers are out of timeouts in the first half.
Is it me, or does that jaw of Bill Cowher seem to stick out a little bit farther every time his team makes a mistake that he doesn't like? So far, they've made a bunch.
Whoa! What's that?
Pontiac GTO.
Yeah. And that one?
69 first.
Is the time remaining? Bill Cowher discussed it on the sideline for the Steelers. Time remaining first half. Pittsburgh out of timeout. O'Donnell to throw, 1st and 20, rolls right. And it is incomplete. Looking for some comeback help along the sideline. Now, while we were away on the commercial, Cowher was really upset with the officials, particularly the referee, Gordon McCarter.
Well, there's 3 parts of football: offense, defense, and special teams. And the point that Bill Cowher, I'll sort of paraphrase here, Charlie. He's making a point that suddenly there's a 4th part of this football game. That's the officiating. The officiating's becoming a very, very large part of this football game, and Bill Cowher does not like it and or appreciate it.
2nd down and 20. O'Donnell stepping away from pressure, steps away, gets a little shovel pass underneath to Van Morris, and he is dropped, but he'll still pick up about 3 on the play. James Francis with the tackle. Still, they'll need 17 yards on this 3rd down for one more 3rd down conversion.
There's a real difference between quarterbacks that are scrambling to get the ball down the field and make something happen, and people that are scrambling to get the ball down the field. Right now, let's take a look at what he had down the field. What could he have done on that play after the pressure? See, he's got guys that are covered that are trying to make things happen. He's got a guy that's open in the backfield there, but he can't get to him because he's so surrounded by the Bengals pass rush.
From the shotgun. Slips and falls, gets up. Slides. The official said he's down back at the 32-yard line. McCarter said he was down by contact when he slipped and went down.
I didn't see any contact. Let's take another look at that one. This is the Cincinnati Bengals, not the Cincinnati Bearcats. When the quarterback hits the ground, he can get back up. I don't know. That didn't say much right there. There's a chance he might have got a hand on him when he was down.
It will go as the 2nd sack of the ball game for the Bengals. They now have 26 on the year. The Steelers, by the way, lead the NFL with 45. They've been shut out so far. 40-yard line. 50-yard field goal attempt, and we've got flags everywhere.
This is about to become a punt because I don't think Bill Cowher is going to let him kick a 55-yarder here.
He is hit from 50. Last week in Los Angeles, we covered that ball game. He was 0 for 3 from 49, 54, and 27.
Remember, once that offensive line sets, they cannot move.
Ball start before the snap. 61 offense. 5 yards. Still 4 seconds.
Now that sack and down by contact on O'Donnell, what was going to cause a 50-yard field goal. Let's see if there's contact on the ground. Yep, absolutely. Rucker did touch him. That was an excellent call by McCarter. And then the mistake by Tim Simpson, who was recently signed last week by the Steelers on that motion, took him out of field goal range.
So now Mark Royals, now what he will want to do, he want to just pooch it up a higher drop. He does not want it to turn over. And he does it. And it will be down at the 2-yard line. An excellent punt by Mark Royals.
This guy is the best kicker in the NFL right now, Charlie, kicking the ball inside the 10-yard line. Look at what he's done so far. His average is up, but look what he's doing inside the 20. I mean, this guy is really mastering the art of not only the pooch kick you mentioned, sort of a lost art, something you saw for years, Charlie. Remember the old coffin corner kick?
Yes.
This guy has brought that back.
And when he talked about exactly what he wanted to do, you know, you hang the ball up and just let it kind of settle back down. He does not want it to turn over in that case. All right, we are tied at 7. Cincinnati has the ball, and they should be well rested on offense. 8:28 time remaining in the second quarter, and Cincinnati will start from their own 3-yard line.
Well, last time they had the ball, this game had a rhythm, and it was the first quarter. Had a stop and go and long drive to get absolutely nothing out of. And if you're the Bengals right now, you count everybody and you protect inside out because the blitz is coming.
Derek Finner is the remaining back. Quick set throw, ball ricocheted in the air. It is intercepted by the Steelers. And it is Greg Lloyd with his first interception of the year.
This is a very aggressive defense. How aggressive? They blitz, they come after the quarterback, and when the defensive back sees the ball's in the air, they attack. Watch Deion Figures attack. Right there as the ball's arriving, he attacks Darnay Scott. Darnay Scott gets up and causes Lloyd to go out of bounds, but very aggressive. Watch the top of the screen. That's your matchup. Scott, Figures breaks on the ball, gets there at the point of the throw, causes the interception. This is one of the big plays Bill Cowher was talking about to get momentum going for his team.
And the first turnover of the ball game. The ricochet interception by Greg Lloyd. Again, his first of the year. He has 9 sacks. And they'll start at the 4-yard line, first down and go. Fake of the pitch out, roll right, wide open is the tight end Eric Green. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
I talked about it earlier. Eric Green has been open the last drive or so. They've been giving up some yardage to this guy. Look at that headbutt. That is a world-class headbutt. Not much of a world-class dance, but that's a world-class headbutt. This guy's been open, and what a weapon. Watch him. Right tight end, just release straight away, fake the block, arm over. End of argument. You're putting Parton, the defensive end, to cover Green, a 300-pounder who can run about a 4.7. That's about 2 notches above him.
And the extra point is up, and it is good. And the Steelers, who could not score on their long drive, score off of the turnover, lead at 14-7. Eric Green just scored his 4th touchdown of the year. And Anderson is kicking off for Pittsburgh. And Eric Ball for Cincinnati to the 20, 25. He's going to be down around the 29 or the 30-yard line. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Now watch this matchup. Here's Green working against Parton. You hear the term arm over? Watch the headbutt by Green, and then just a slap and arm over. He's a defensive lineman here. Little pull, little jerk, arm over. wide open. That's way too much to ask a defensive end. If you're going to ask him to do that, you got to tell the defensive end on a 300-pound tight end, if he starts to get away from you, get the penalty, but tackle him. Don't let him get away.
First down, Cincinnati. They trail now 14-7. And here is Derek Finner. Straight shot for about 4 yards to the 33-yard line. Kevin Henry with the tackle. Time of possession. We talked about that long drive of the Steelers where they came up empty. That was almost 9 minutes. And they got it back on the interception, scored very quickly. But Cincinnati has had the ball just over, 3 minutes and 47 seconds. Not a lot of time.
And what the key is for the momentum from the Bengals side, really, Charlie, is if you take a look at Kevin Green there, coming after Jeff Blake, Blake has to make something happen down the field to get the momentum back.
And here is Finner's straight shot. And he's got the first down. So the Cincinnati Bengals come back with just straight power right up the middle against the Steelers. Levon Kirkland with the tackle finally for Pittsburgh.
Well, I don't know, Charlie. Is this enough straight up the field for you? Watch this is zone blocking. Nice job by Sargent on the backside. Just generally kind of mushed them. Just mushed them on back there and let the big running back go at it.
First down, Cincinnati, their own 45.
The best thing that could happen for the Bengals is to keep this ball the rest of the half and get some kind of score out.
That was only their third first down in the ballgame. Here's the pitch defender who gets back inside the block and has a couple of yards to the 47. Chad Brown, the leading tackler for the Steelers, is the man who brought Finner down. Well, just like the Bam Morris show for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's become the Derek Finner show for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Exactly, and the guy that was in on that tackle, Chad Brown, actually, we found out this morning he's having a little bit of a touch of the flu symptoms, a little stomach bug, a little other problems, a little.
You know what those other problems can be when you've got an upset stomach and the flu overnight.
Yeah, remember that breakfast you had?
Ooh,
Here it comes again.
Yes, and again. Second down and 7. And here's the pitch to the front side. And he is into Pittsburgh territory. It's around the 49, maybe the 48-yard line. Deion Figures with the tackle.
Now, you talked about really the power of the other running backs. Here's a running back. Look how long he keeps his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. He's setting up his blocks. He's watching the blockers in front of him, keeping his shoulders square so he still has his options. And when he gets to the line of scrimmage, Broussard's options are straight right and left. When you turn those shoulders, you eliminate your options. You got to go outside.
And so Cincinnati takes a timeout. They will stop the clock. 5:36. That is the time remaining in the first half. The Steelers are up 14-7. It is still drizzling here in Cincinnati. We'll be back in a moment. And now it just continued. We have had this light drizzle, but now I think I would say it would be a heavy drizzle with more on the way as you look to the overcast and the skies and the clouds here in Cincinnati. Cincinnati has converted only 1 of 2 third down opportunities. Pittsburgh 8 of 10. This is third down and a couple. Blake throws as he was coming down, and the pass is incomplete. He was going to Carl Pickens, and he was nailed. And that was Ray Seals, who had a handful of Jeff Blake.
Well, watch out. That's more than a handful. He had a head, a chest, and an armful right there, putting Blake on the ground. Remember, he's got that bruised ankle on the outside. It's a left outside ankle sprain. That is a bad place to sprain an ankle because that thing won't get better until February.
So Lee Johnson will be kicking for the second time. Now it is fourth down and still 2. And Cincinnati says that they're going to pick up the first down.
During the dead ball, number 95, defense.
That's on Greg Lloyd.
First down.
Wow. If Bill Cowher was hot before, he's absolutely volcanic now. And he can't get mad at the officials for mistakes that his team's making, because that is a bad mistake by a veteran, Greg Lloyd, getting an unsportsmanlike between plays.
And that was fourth down and 2. And now the Bengals have the first down. Pittsburgh, 8 penalties, 80 yards. Cincinnati, no penalties. Ball 34-yard line of Pittsburgh.
Old NFL technique of Bill Cowers working that judge nearest you.
And late to throw. Here comes the blitz. Pass is complete. Far side. That is Paul Pickens. Pickens down the sideline. And out of bounds at the 2-yard line. And Greg Lloyd finally got him. 32 yards on the play. First down, goal to go.
And Jeff Blake takes advantage of that mistake by the Pittsburgh Steelers and takes this thing from a pilot light to a full blaze here in the jungle at Riverfront Stadium. The crowd's back in it, and the Cincinnati offense and Pickens are back in it.
And it'll be first down and goal to go. 3 receptions, 95 yards, the touchdown. Needs only those few more yards to have his 4th straight 100-plus game. Timeout. Cincinnati running out of time.
That's the 3rd one of those, Charlie. 3rd time today we've seen the quarterback get down to 2 or 1 and have to call a timeout. And you saw him motioning to the coach there, Dave Shula, that he couldn't hear what was going on. You don't know if that was he couldn't hear or the helmet wasn't working and the hand signals hadn't got there in time.
And for those of you not aware, of course, they have the radio helmets where they can talk to him from the sideline with the plate. But the crowd here is so excited over the last play to the 2-yard line.
Well, Dave Shula, not to be outdone, Charlie, he's giving McCarter the business a little bit now.
McCarter's getting it from all sides of the ball game today. 5 minutes and 5 seconds. That is the time remaining in the first half. The Steelers are up by a score of 14-7, and Cincinnati just a couple of yards away from tying this one up. Let's take a look at the playoff picture in the AFC. Pittsburgh, their record is 9-3. Cleveland 9-3. San Diego 9-3. Right now, Pittsburgh has the home field advantage, but any stumble along the way, that could change very quickly.
And Pittsburgh has something that the other teams don't have, Charlie. They have control of their own destiny. They've got Philadelphia next week. They have Cleveland at home the week after that. Then they get San Diego. You saw their number 3 on the list in San Diego in their final game. If they get home field advantage, it'll be because they earned it.
First down, goal to go. Here is Finn on the right side, and he does not go in. It'll be second down, goal to go. Von Kirkland with the tackle for the Steelers.
Well, this should be about second down in a football. You saw even there that was not even a straight attack at this Pittsburgh defense by Dave Shula's offense. A slanting attack. I think you've got to attack this defense right straight at it. Too much speed at the linebacker's position to go sideways.
Here's Finner over the top, and he is pushed back. He does not go in. It will be third down and goal to go.
Watch the penetration, how low the white jerseys are. The white jerseys stuff the offensive line of the Bengals. There's nowhere to jump. Watch from the back. Watch these eyes. Is this concentration? You're expecting the leap. You get it. You meet it.
That was number 51, rookie Ed Robinson, the free agent from Florida. Third down, goal to go. And the eyes of the head coach, Dave Shula. Hitter again, and he does not go in. 3 straight times he has been turned away. This time, Von Kirkland. Fourth down, goal to go.
With this momentum, your team in this situation, you go for it here, because on third down, once again, the white jerseys were underneath the black jersey. See this? No movement. Penetration, nowhere for Fenner to go.
On the year, Cincinnati 9 of 17 on fourth down conversions. And they shift. They do not throw anybody outside. They shift. Pressure from the backside. Blake throws. He's in trouble. He throws low, and it is incomplete. The Steelers have held.
And the reason Dave Shula and his coaches had to go to a passing play, had to try to get something going with that motion, is the defense of the Steelers, the linebacker speed, Chad Brown, those linebackers, and the strength of Bill Cowher's defensive line kept stuffing that offensive line of Cincinnati's. They had to go to the pass play, and when they did, watch the coverage in the end zone. Blake has nowhere to go. He's throwing to a guy on the ground. Watch the pressure coming from the back of Blake here. Blake gets rid of this ball at a very opportune time before he has a splat applied to him by Lloyd.
Cincinnati moves 70 yards. They needed to go 71 to score. Steelers take over on their own 1 first down. Van Morris, and he is in right at the goal line, but manages to spin out to the 4.
Well, he keeps those money makers going, those 2 big legs of his that carry him time and time again. He never stopped churning on that carry.
Alfred Williams with the tackle. Just who is Van Morris? Well, he was the 14th running back in the NFL draft. 14. Now, Marshall Faulk, San Diego, he was the number 1. And, of course, he has lived up to that building. But Van Morris, 14th. Whoa.
Well, guys like Van Morris and Jeff Blake make you wonder what kind of information goes into those computers that get guys drafted.
And here's Van Morris again. He breaks through. He's out to the 15. And finally wrestled down near the 20-yard line. Steelers have a first down.
What Van Morris does, he takes advantage of that offensive line blocking. He breaks up here, goes here, and then hits the crease and hits the outside. Watch the blocking by Strelsick, Dawson, Searcy, Jackson, the entire group. You see Vincent trying to strip the ball, but that young running back Morris has learned something quick running the ball for Bill Cowher. You wrap that puppy up.
2-minute warning will now be given to both benches. Steelers lead it 14-7. They have the ball and the momentum.
Wendy's celebrates 25 years of being the best in the business. In Super Bowl 25, Buffalo Scott Norwood missed a field goal that could have won the game. But do you remember who made the only last-second?
It's all coming up at halftime. 2 minutes to go, first down. And here is Van Morris once again. This time off of the right side for about 4 yards, maybe 5 on the play. It'll be second down. Now, normally Van Morris part of the 1-2 punch with Barry Foster. Foster with that back problem, not here at the ball game, not playing. Now it's 1-1 or 2-2. Or 3-3. His number. He's going to get the call.
Right.
Is he going to get tired?
Oh, not in this weather. This is the kind of weather like we did the Jets Green Bay a few weeks back, and we're out there, and Dwayne White, the big offensive guard of the Jets, said, this is fat man's weather. A fat man can play forever. Well, a fat man or anybody can play forever in this cooler weather like this.
Van Morris has rushed for 71 yards. John L. Williams now gives him a bit of breather. John L. goes out to the 28-yard line. Van Morris, 14 carries, 71 yards, and a touchdown in the first half. Snake Vincent with the tackle for Cincinnati. That defensive stand of the Steelers, though, has taken the wind out of all of the sails of the Bengals.
2 big messages, Charlie. You made the first message, that defensive stand. The second message has been Neil O'Donnell and Van Morris exchanging the ball back and forth here. I'll take the snap. I'll give it to you. You give it back to the official. He'll give it to the center. Center will give it to me. I'll give it back to you. Physically, they are taking control of this football game.
Third down and a couple. Now just the kneel down. And we will just take the countdown. They're very pleased with the situation. They, of course, being the Pittsburgh Steelers, they now have a 14-7 lead. I always love this. When we now have 22 seconds and counting, and everybody is leaving the field. They know something we don't know.
I think Dave Shula and the Cincinnati Bengals also have to be happy with this first half. They've played a very tough game. They've gotten things going, and they've watched Bill Cowher's team make mistakes. You see, he's talking there to Gordon McCarter about the mistakes his team's making. He doesn't appreciate the calls, Charlie, but he's got to deal with the fact his team's made some mistakes.
Pittsburgh 14, Cincinnati 7. Let's go to New York and Greg Gumbel.
This is the dumbest, but they only won 14-10.
And in the first half, the Cincinnati Bengals, they simply not had the football. They really have not had the football.
Well, when Jeff Blake has had a chance to get his hands on it, he's been very impressive throwing the ball. But the problem has been, as halting as it's been, as is error-full, and as much as we've seen of the officials when Pittsburgh's had the ball, the bottom line is Dave Shula and his offense have really had the ball basically for about 4.5, 5 minutes.
All right, Cincinnati will have the first opportunity here in the third quarter as Gary Anderson kicks off. And moving under at the 13-yard line is Eric Ball. And Ball, a pretty good return out across the 35 out to the 37-yard line. Red Robinson makes the tackle. Now the Coors Light halftime statistics.
And the thing to look to, there's two things right there that tell me something. One, it's the possessions, and that's the time of possession, 21.5 minutes for the Steelers. And two, is there's only been one turnover in this game, Charlie. Steelers got it. They took advantage of it. They stuck it in. That's why they're ahead by a touchdown.
And Cincinnati only 8.5 minutes on offense. There is Kevin Green leading the National Football League with 12 quarterback sacks. Cincinnati starts with the 37-yard line, and they'll start through the air. It is dumped off underneath the covers to Derek Finner. But Finner is going to pick up about 9 yards on the play before Chad Brown makes the tackle.
You know, one thing I'd like to point out in this second half we should keep an eye on. Watch Jeff Blake as he throws the ball, and believe me, in the second half, Charlie, he's going to be throwing the ball a lot, I think, against this defense. He's only 6 feet tall, but he was taught by his father and by his coaches early how to have a very high throwing release. Most quarterbacks throw it off their ear, off their shoulder. Jeff Blake throws it almost 6 inches to a foot above his head when he releases it.
And he only threw it 9 times in the first half with 4 completions. And he hands off underneath to the first back through, and that's Jeff Cochran, the rookie from Ohio State. Kirkland with the tackle. He needed a yard for the first down, and he's going to pick it up as he goes to the 49-yard line.
Now, we talk a lot about swagger and attitude. In that first half, the Bengals defense, and to some degree that Bengals offense with their big plays, had an awful lot of swagger and attitude, and the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't until that goal line stand. They got a lot of it back then. If they can maintain it, they can control this game.
Cincinnati with a first down. And they stay on the ground. This time it's Steve Broussard. Kirkland there to cover him. He just made a slip on this very slippery turf.
You talked about Kevin Green leading the league in sacks. Watch the job he does against the rookie Cothran. 91 right there, stuffs the fullback 46 right back into the backfield. Let's watch it up close and personal. Green not rushing the passer. Look at pad levels. I talked about penetration and pad levels. Great example of a linebacker's pads being down in the stomach of a running back trying to lead block.
And it is second down and 10. And we have whistles. A very close ball game, as we pointed out. Could have been a lot closer. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. It was not. It's 14-7 Pittsburgh.
Ball start before the snap. Number 80 offense. 5 yards. Still second down.
Now Pittsburgh returns home. They have Philadelphia next week, and then in 2 weeks they hold that. By the way, the first penalty against Cincinnati. They will be hosting the Cleveland Browns. You mentioned in the first half that the Steelers have it all in front of them. They can control their own destiny. They can control it here. They can control it next week, and in 2 weeks that big game against Cleveland.
Hey, really, if you look from the Cincinnati standpoint, Charlie, they're looking to make their year to knock off the #1 team right now in the AFC.
Lake throws out underneath the covers to Pickens. Pickens out of bounds. Kind of whirling and skidding and looking, and didn't have his balance.
Now, I talked about Jeff Blake not being a real tall quarterback. Watch him sort of disappear among the rushers. Where's number 8? Gone. Here he comes, and look where he lets it go. See how high above his shoulder that ball is when he lets that ball go? That makes a 6-foot quarterback about a 6'3" quarterback. So height is highly overrated. You can compensate for it with throwing styles, much like Pat Hayden did with the Rams.
Well, Pickens with that reception, over 100 yards receiving for the 5th straight game. Broussard, well, they had him by an ankle, and he managed to squirt loose. He will need a good spot here, and is close to the first down. Buckner makes the play, but you know, they had a hand grasp on him. It looked as if he was going to lose a yard or two.
Well, you know, Steve Broussard is not a very big running back at 5'7", well, not very big, kind of short, 5'7", 201. The big problem he's had really, though, has been keeping healthy. And a lot of the reason for that is exactly what you saw in that last run. You saw the high effort, the high energy level. He has had a tendency to fumble on occasion, but that high energy level has put him in a position to get hurt quite often.
And he, of course, is the young man with the chain stretch.
Let's look at that running style. Think there's any quitting this guy? Got one guy had him around the waist, another guy gets him around the waist, one guy gets him around the legs, and all of them end up on the turf, and none of them end up with Broussard. So far, Dave Schuler's offense has opened up using a variety of running backs, and basically with the same approach, looking to pound it, and you pound it on 4th and short.
4th down and inches, quarterback sneak sliding right side, and Jeff Blake will pick it up. Ball spotted now at the 40-yard line, and a 1st down for Cincinnati. The mind says, then why didn't they use this on the goal line? There's a reason. Different defense here. Different
defense and a lot further to go. They had a lot further to go. I think the defense is in a position where they're just submarining and going in the goal line where they didn't in that situation. But you know what I like the most about this kid, Blake? He's in a situation. He throws the ball this way, throws the ball that way. You can coach and teach throwing techniques. You can coach and teach offenses. You can't coach that intangible. Guys play better around this guy.
And here's the pitch to Finner, and the reverse. A flea flicker on it, sets, goes deep, has Finner open, drops it at the 20-yard line. Tony McGee, the tight end, had gone deep to clear it out, and Finner was right there. It was in his hand.
You ever hear one of those jokes, Charlie, that just kind of keeps going and going? There never really seems to be a punchline. This thing keeps going and going. What is the punchline? Well, as is in all jokes, the punchline isn't any good if you don't get it. And Finner didn't get it. One more time, he had him wide open, high release, floating down in his hand. No.
Broussard for a couple of yards. So it's going to be 3rd down and 8. As Kirkland, again, he's been a very busy body this afternoon.
Kirkland had a great collision on that play there for Broussard, because I think Broussard had a little bit of a crack, but that crack suddenly closed with number 99 putting his helmet right in his chest.
Dallas struggling just a bit with Philadelphia. They lead that ball game. Washington and Tampa Bay with the Redskins up at half. And you mentioned that Dallas throw, because Cleveland is at Dallas. Nick Saturday on NBC. And, of course, that game of much importance to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whistle sound. Rod Woodson was coming on a blitz, and he was upended.
Ball start before the snap. 82 offense. 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
Yep. Charlie, I talked about the fact that Jeff Blake, people play better around this guy. Well, one of the things you can't really teach a guy is the fact that that happens. But the guy responsible for teaching this young quarterback the most has been Kenny Anderson, who is the best quarterback in the history of this franchise here in Cincinnati. I know Boomer Esiason was here, but this guy threw for over 32,000 yards. And, you know, you got to look at the stats of a lot of quarterbacks that are in Halls of Fame and thrown for huge yards. Kenny Anderson's got numbers right up for those guys.
3rd and 13, blitz coming, ball is knocked out of his hand. Steelers say they have recovered it. The officials say they have recovered it. Buckner, the rookie defensive end from Clemson, is the man who recovers the fumble.
Watch how things come around from the backside. Greg Lloyd wraps around, knocks the ball out, and Buckner gets it. The ball was not protected.
We'll step aside. We'll be back in a moment.
This is one long game. They even ran out of food. The fans must be hungry.
I'll tell you about hungry.
When it's gotta be good and
starts at the 50-yard line following the turnover. They lead 14-7. This one is tipped, and then it is dropped. And O'Donnell was really crushed, and that was Steve Tovar who nailed him after he released the bat.
In your face. Here comes Tovar. Bang. And the ball also was tipped also at the line of scrimmage. So despite that fumble and the big play for the Pittsburgh defense, the Cincinnati defense has come out every bit as aggressive as their counterparts.
Well, the ball is still at the 50-yard line, and it is 2nd down and 2. And here is Van Morris. He slips the tackle, gets to the corner, and then is bit back. was the first man to get to it. And he's going to end up losing about half a yard on the play. It'll be 3rd down and long.
Remember I talked about that fire and that attitude. Well, the Pittsburgh defense showed they got the fire and the attitude, and Larry Peccatello's defense for Cincinnati is showing they got a little fire and attitude to them, too. There's the defensive coordinator of Cincinnati, and his defense, they're not blitzing the whole time, but they are attacking every play.
Pittsburgh is converted on 8 of 11 third down opportunities from the shotgun. O'Donnell, good protection. Goes over the middle, passes Scott. He'll come up shy of the first down. That is a touchdown scoring Eric Green.
And that shows you two things, Charlie. That zone defense that Larry Peccatello talked about. Keep everything in front of you and make the tackle. What that sets up for Pittsburgh, though, is for us to get another chance to see Mark Royals kicking the ball down inside the 20.
And remember, he says he drops it a little higher. He wants to keep the point of the football up so it just settles. Doesn't turn over. And this one turns over on him. And it is almost caught in the field of play. Willie Williams was down very quickly. It goes into the end zone for the touchback. And the point turned over. Back in a moment.
What do you need to be the best?
Starter.
Every time I go out there, the adrenaline starts pumping.
Chills running down my spine.
I'm scared.
Talked about this defense setting up a line of defense. Watch these 4 defenders right here. And the line of defense they set up short of the first down marker. Watch this picket fence form right now on about the 38. See that? Right there, right across the middle. Now watch this. In front of you, if it happens in front of you, you make the tackle. Good defense by the Cincinnati Bengals and their coordinator, Larry Peccatello.
Cincinnati starts to the 20. Let me tell you what they were doing as the pass is complete. Going up and bringing it down is Darnay Scott. That is his first reception of the ball game. Deion Figures came in underneath him. But when the Bengals set their offense, they had 2 different wide receivers. And then right before they came out of the huddle, they ran 2 in, brought 2 out, changed the look. Steelers did not have time to make a defensive change, just another part of the chess game that's going on.
The objective for the Pittsburgh defense, make Blake think. Things like that. Turns it around, makes the Pittsburgh defense think.
First down just outside the 31-yard line. Here comes the blitz from the outside. They cut it off. Bouchard is going to lose a yard, maybe a yard and a half. Ray Seals makes the tackle. And so the Steelers are doing exactly what you were talking about, because they will show blitz, and they will show blitz in 3 or 4 different ways. Then they will come out of it and come with a blitz from the other side.
Well, actually, a little change up there. Instead of usually giving you Carnell Lake, their strong safety coming up in the blitz, that time it was Darren Perry and both inside linebackers, Chad Brown and Levon Kirkland, stuffing things up. Dom Capers, you see right there on the left, seated with a couple cups in front of him there as a defensive coordinator. Very quiet, the exact opposite of Bill Cowher, but every bit as aggressive.
Blitz is coming. It is picked up pass far side to Pickens, is incomplete, and will bring it back. Greg Lloyd made the play a moment ago when he knocked the ball out of the quarterback's hands. When we talked to him yesterday, he was talking about how competitive the defense for the Steelers actually is. He said, we have a lot of little games amongst ourselves that we want to do, and we have a few little side bets, nothing big. He said, but all of a sudden, a teammate will make a great play, and you say, way to go. Say, oh, no, this is going to cost me.
You know, and a lot of that comes back to what they're taught. They're taught that by Dom Capers. Turnovers, stripping the ball, causing turnovers. When you do that a lot, you can enjoy those side benefits.
Third down and 11. Slipping, going down. It'll be a sack. Kevin Green was there to cover second sack for the Steelers, and actually it was the slippery turf that caused that one, but in reality, he was also running out of time.
Well, watch Kevin Green, 91, just fight and work against Kozerski, the tackle. Fighting, finally gets in, and he's joined by Gilden coming in the other direction, but it's Green that should get credit for that one. He worked the longest and the hardest for that sack. It came the furthest.
And here is Rod Woodson, the return man, as Lee Johnson will be kicking. Bit of a hard snap. And he gets it off. Fair catch call for it, the last possible moment at the 40-yard line. We've got a timeout. The Steelers have the lead. We'll be back in a moment.
How Ford reinvented the minivan in 3 words.
As we peer into the huddle of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Neil O'Donnell, the quarterback today, He was off for a couple of weeks due to injuries and very capably replaced by Mike Tomczak and his wife on the sideline looking on, and he had 2 excellent games for the Steelers. Donald fakes, rolls, sets, throws, passes complete. Has to be the big man, Eric Green. A bit like the Goodyear blimp coming across the field. Darrell Williams jumps on top of him. 6'5", 300 pounds.
Well, as you see him come across the field, you rarely see him catch the ball and go backwards. And this is going to be no exception because Darrell Williams is going to come up and hit him sort of with what he's got as he comes up 31 on Green, and he just doesn't go down. And the last thing you want to see when you see Eric Green is for him to lower his shoulders lower than your shoulders, because if he does that, you're going backwards.
First down. Excuse me, second down and about half a yard. Marker on the far side says first down. Marker on this side says second down. Interesting statement by the lines person. That's an automatic first down as the referee signals for it, as Ricardo McDonald makes the tackle. Now we got first downs everywhere.
Well, you're talking about a game that has had a very halting kind of a pace to it, but this is the perfect situation that a team that is clearly superior, and believe me, the Steelers are clearly superior, takes control of the game and puts this ball in the end zone. If they want to show they're one of the best, now's when they prove it.
McDonald to throw on first down. It's a screen to Van Morris. Van has it. He's to the 50, back to the line of scrimmage. Slips a tackle. And he's going to pick up 4 or 5 on the play before McDonald finally makes the stop. And he has that ability, even at his size, to slip a tackle here to get away from a defender there and to pick up a few extra yards along the way.
Well, he has good air brakes. You know, there's not many guys that are that size for starters that are running backs, but there's even fewer people that can be that size and can actually stop and go. Most guys get that stuff going, and the stop doesn't really, it's sort of an eventual stop. You ease to a stop. He can stop now and then go in the other direction.
Is this also a time here with 4:57 left in the third that the Bengals, if they're going to step up in a ball game, they stay close here for them to make a statement? And here is Van Morris, and he still manages to pick up a yard after being hit a yard behind the line of scrimmage. James Francis joining his friends, jumping on his back. And it's going to be third down, but again, the Steelers have feasted on third down.
Well, the key for the Bengals, and we saw it on that last series, is not to lose that aggressive nature they had. You know, this Pecatello defense has been all over the offense of the Steelers at the right times. And what David Shula needs from his defense here is a big play to stop any momentum for Pittsburgh and hope that Blake can get big plays and create momentum for his offense.
Pittsburgh has not turned the ball over. The pass is complete for the first down. This time it's Ernie Mills who pulls it in. And Snake Benson makes the tackle. And again, the Steelers convert on third down.
And this is just a case that this offense goes back and they're attacking a specific part of the zone. You saw Green was in the front part of the zone, and then the other receivers in the back part of the zone. You get him there, you throw Mills the ball because he's the one that's open.
Ball just inside 35-yard line of Cincinnati. And another thing the Steelers are doing, as they have been doing throughout the ballgame, controlling the clock. Here's Van Morris. Just running free inside the 25 to the 22-yard line. First down, Pittsburgh. Steve Tovar making the tackle, and you're beginning to see, for the first time, Cincinnati not as aggressive on defense as they have been earlier in the ballgame. That defense has been out there a long time.
I don't know if it's their aggression as much as it's the fact that physically this is just a better team from the Pittsburgh standpoint, and physically they're able to assert themselves defensively. I don't know if you can get that tired in this type of weather. You can sort of say you'll play forever, but they're pounding them, they're starting to find the little cracks that repetitive pounding will give you.
22-yard line first down. Van Morris right side. And this time he's going to have a couple of yards, maybe 3 on the play. Tovar with the tackle. Defense has been out there a long time. Offense has been out there a long time for Pittsburgh. Who gets the tiredest?
The guy that has the less points. The least amount of points on the board gets the tiredest. That's the one thing people rarely give up. They say, hey, you know, this defense has been on the field forever. They've got to be worn out. Well, the offensive guys haven't been one of those people. You get just as tired just as fast as the defensive guy.
But if you're leading, you get less tired.
You get a lot less tired when you're on top.
Already they've used 4 minutes on just this drive. Remember the drive in the first half? They used 9 minutes on that one. O'Donnell sets lots of time, dumps it off right flat, and goes to Kyle Williams. Williams avoids a tackler, spins his way for a first down.
You can see the parts of this Pittsburgh Steeler team that have the fans in Pittsburgh so excited. The defense is aggressive. The offense is extremely well run. They run the ball well. O'Donnell and Tom Zach, when he was in, are able to flip it off and make the smart decisions. And one thing both cornerbacks have handled well has been pressure. When they get pressure, they know where it's coming from, and they know where to go with the ball.
First down just outside the 10-yard line. And here's Van Morris to the left side. And jumping over the top, Dan Wilkinson was there. Tim Krumrie also had a piece of the play. And also stepping out is Steve Tovar.
And we saw earlier in the game, Big Daddy Wilkinson, Dan Wilkinson, having a good game, making things happen. Here he's making some more things happen, going around a block to make tackles. That's when you know you got a guy that's big, but he's also quick when he can go around a block.
And also casual. He came to practice yesterday.
In his pajamas.
In his pajamas.
That was the first for me. I've never. When a rookie makes enough money, he can wear whatever he wants to work.
That's right. We had a nice interview with him. He was wearing his pajamas. Freshly pressed. Very nice. Here's Van Morris right side. Pops through touchdown. His second of the game. And his 7th of the year.
And after that drive, I think you can also call the Cincinnati Bengals freshly pressed. Now, Charlie, you know, our athletic careers are probably behind us, but you think maybe you and I could go through this hole, watch it open up, bam, go, forget it. I mean, here is a guy getting a crack and taking it.
Only if you were leading the way. And the extra point is good. And the Steelers now lead Cincinnati by a score of 21-7.
Right now, get the deal of the year on Ford Taurus, America.
This is Charlie Jones and Randy Cross. Randy checking out to make sure they don't kick off behind us. Now, the New York Times lists the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are now kicking off behind us, as the #3 team in the NFL. And on the return, here is Adrian Hardy. With San Francisco and the Cowboys back and forth as the first or second. But below that, a lot of AFC teams. But the Steelers now with an opportunity that we have talked about it with controlling their own destiny.
They really are. I mean, they have Philadelphia. They have Cleveland in their own place. They go to San Diego. They can control it. They can reestablish themselves as one of the top teams in the league. And I really think the key to that for Bill Cowher in this entire organization is how the offense is going to play up to the level of their defense. Because this defense is starting to harken back to the days of 74, 75 with those back-to-back Super Bowl steel curtain years.
Cincinnati starting at their own 38-yard line. Finner is in motion, and here's Jeff Blake. Flag is down. And while they sort that one out, let's continue with your thought.
False start before the snap. 64 offense. 5 yards, still first down.
We mentioned at the top of this game that the Steelers were leading the league in sacks right now. Here's a comparison between their first Super Bowl team defensively and their current Super Bowl team. And I know there's a lot of loyalty in Pittsburgh where they say comparisons. You can't compare these guys. Well, you can. We will. And I think numbers-wise, these teams stack up very well for 2 reasons. They have an efficient, strong defensive line and a very, very talented linebacker core.
First down and 15. Blake to throw. And they're going to rule it incomplete. And there was a collision with Carl Pickens and Rod Woodson. I was just kind of holding off for a moment. I just thought the possibility of a flag might be floating through the drizzle of the afternoon.
And much like those great Steeler defenses had, they've got some athletic, talented play from their defensive backfield, and that was an excellent play over the top and no contact. You can't teach the ability to do something like that. Rod Woodson does it with the best.
Blake now has completed 7 of 15 for 131 yards. Pickens, his favorite target, has 4 receptions. Finner has 1. Scott has 1. Broussard has 1. Blake goes to an audible. Here comes the blitz at the middle. They pick it up, pump fake. Now the blitz and pressure from the outside. That's Chad Brown, who is there along with Lon Kirkland. Third sack of the ball game for the Steelers.
There's one thing inevitable when you audibilize and you want to get it off quick. If you're going to pump fake, you better be ready to eat it. That's exactly what Blake's going to have to do as Brown descends upon him. He has to eat this football. Good job down the field. You know, remember, the Steelers are a team running a lot of blitz zone. On that play, it was blitz zone. Gave him the blitz, zone behind it, and stuffed it.
We come to the end of the third quarter. Steelers up 21-7. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. The Steelers have spread their scoring around 7 each quarter. They lead 21-7.
And they throw points around like hubcaps. I mean, like manhole covers when it comes to defense. They don't give many up.
They're down and 25. Blake steps forward. He'll be sacked for the 4th time in the ball game. And remember that Jeff Blake had been sacked only 8 times, a total of 8 times in the previous 5 games.
The way they've done it, pressuring Blake, has been group pressure. It's not been one guy breaking loose. It's been Green from the outside. It's been Chad Brown from the inside. It's been Lloyd from the other side. They've done it as a team.
This time, Bretson Butler coming from the inside, as Lee Johnson will be kicking, and Rod Woodson is the return man. I'm going back in my mind that defensive play that Woodson made over the top of the receiver. That was absolutely awesome. And he has it at the 45, came out of bounds. And as he goes out at the 47-yard line of the Cincinnati Bengals, Steelers lead it 21-7. Kevin Green having another bad hair day, but another good sack day. He has 14 on the year.
Well, it's his third multi-sack game back in a row here for him. He's up to 14 and one half of the best the outside linebacking duo in the league, along with Greg Lloyd.
And here is Bam Morris. Bam off the left side. A little stiff arm, and he goes down and bound. He'll pick up about 8 yards now. 98 yards rushing as we rush to New York. And an update from Greg Gumbel.
All right, Charlie, in Foxborough, Boomer Esiason out of his end zone. Ricky Reynolds picks it off and returns 11 yards for the touchdown. First defensive TD of the season for New England. They lead the Jets 17-13 in the last 2 minutes of the third. Charlie?
And as we come back to Cincinnati, Pittsburgh comfortably in front by a score of 21-7. And they have the ball. They have already had possession over 29 minutes. Cincinnati 16 minutes in the ball game. And here is Van Morris, left side. He'll cut back. And that should take him over the 100-yard mark rushing.
And that's the best explanation I can give you as to why they've had the ball for 29 minutes. It's the aggressive running game they've used. They tried things inside early that didn't work so well. They've gone off the tackles and outside the tight end since then. And Morris in this offense has just taken the soul out of the Cincinnati defense the last couple possessions.
And as we suspected, he does go over the 100-yard mark. Neil O'Donnell has thrown for only 128 yards. So you're right. It has been the Bam of Bam Morris. Steelers with a first down. And here is John L. Williams. And Williams off the left side. Steve Tovar with the tackle.
Charlie, normally you look at stats, and there's all kinds of neat little stats. An interesting stat we came up with on this Pittsburgh Steelers team. When they have running backs that have the ball 20 times, 20 carries, it's a combination of running backs. This team is 27-5 over the last few years. Tells you something about the style that Bill Cowher likes to play. Ground control, use the talent of your running backs, get some big plays out of your special teams, and just beat the team up with your defense.
Second down and 4. The ball at the Cincinnati 27-yard line. And here is John L. He is hit at the 30, but still manages to pick up a couple of yards back in the neighborhood of the line of scrimmage. Snake Vinson with the stop for Cincinnati. And the clock continues on its inexorable march. 12:25 time remaining in the game.
The one thing I think this Pittsburgh Steelers team is missing and is yet to prove on people, they haven't gotten into a shootout yet this year. They haven't had to come back big on somebody. That is one of the few questions left about the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, with the way their defense is playing, they may never have to answer that question this year. And here is Van Morris off of the right side. And he's to the 24-yard line. You have the feeling that the Steeler defense simply will not let anybody get that far out in front. They'll always keep you within shouting distance. What was your line about their defense and their special teams? Only limited by the offensive possibility.
The defense and special teams will set the tone, and the offense is going to set the limits. If this offense can perform for Bill Cowher and this organization, this team can go as far as it wants to go.
And what about the Cincinnati Bengals? I tell you, I'm very impressed the way they played, up to like the first 3 quarters. I think that, like you said, the Steelers are bigger and faster and stronger, and they're going to start to wear down now. But I think they played reasonably well. You should be proud of what they've done.
Yeah, they need to address their offense, I think. Defensively, they addressed it quite a bit in their drafts. Offensively, they need to address 2 positions primarily. One, the offensive line has not been anywhere near the quality it was in the 80s when they had some great lines here. And number 2, they've got to get an impact-type running back, and their position in the draft this year should guarantee him that player.
Now here's Gary Anderson with a 41-yard field goal attempt. And it is good from 41 yards away. And the Steelers move up 24-7. Back to the kickoff in a moment. Welcome back as the Steelers kickoff. And here is Eric Ball for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's to the 15, the 20, cut to the far side, and is upended around the 22 or the 23-yard line. Be sure to be with us next Saturday here on NBC, and this should really be a good one. Join NBC for a special edition of NFL action, beginning with NFL Live. Feature to the 2 men who make the Dallas Cowboys great. On the offensive side of the ball, quarterback Troy Aikman. On the defensive pass rush specialist, Charles Haley on the defensive side. And Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and the defending Super Bowl champions, they will play host to Eric Metcalf and the surprising Cleveland Browns. That's Cleveland and Dallas next Saturday. And by the way, Dallas this afternoon leading Philadelphia in the 4th quarter, 24-19. Protection. This one is intercepted. It is Rod Woodson, and he is going to coast into the end zone with the touchdown. His 3rd interception, his 4th interception of the year, his 2nd touchdown off of an interception this season. 27 yards and the score.
I told you in the beginning of the game, Jeff Blake was going to be sure he knew where Rod Woodson was at all times. Guess who he lost track of, or might have thought he could zip the ball by? Number 26, lining up inside, getting a nickel look. One thing you don't do is you don't fool Rod Woodson, and you don't catch him when he gets an open field in front of him.
And the extra point is good. And the Steelers now have blown this one open, 31-7. It seems as if it was only a moment ago that Gary Anderson was kicking off. Well, it was only a moment ago.
A moment and a mistake ago. The mistake was made by Jeff Blake throwing that ball into the flat.
And here is Eric Vaughn. Goes to the 15, the 20, has an opening. He's good at the 30. Nice little hit move down the sideline, and he is out of bounds at the 46-yard line. A good return. It was Gary Anderson who finally maneuvered him out of bounds. Let's go back to the playoff picture in the AFC.
Well, Cleveland playing later today, Charlie, but Pittsburgh would appear, obviously, to be moving to 10-3. This is a situation, we've said it time and again, they're going to control what their destiny is. They have to host Philadelphia next week. That'll be a big game for them before they can get to their other 2 playoff teams in Cleveland and San Diego the following weeks.
Cincinnati now with the first down, 10:57. That is the time remaining here. 31-7 Steelers. Blake steps away. Now he scrambles. And he'll pick up the first down as he goes to the 38-yard line. Now let's go back to the wild card scramble.
Well, look what's happening. I mean, New England and the Jets are playing today. The Raiders and San Diego are playing tomorrow night. Later today, you got Denver and Kansas City. So by the time the sun rises Tuesday morning, this playoff picture from the wild card standpoint will have a lot better definition to it. I still think, though, even after the Steelers crushed the Raiders last week, they can't let these Raiders get in the playoffs. They're too dangerous in that situation.
Cincinnati with the first down. This pass is dropped. It'll be incomplete. Go back just to a moment ago, and you saw that the Jets in New England, they're in that wild card scramble. They have identical records of 6-6. But right now, New England is leading the Jets 17-13, and right on time is the 10-minute ticker that will give you a follow-up on your favorite team. You know what's going on throughout the National Football League with the early games today. And again, San Diego and the Raiders play tomorrow night.
You know, Bill Cowher and the Steelers can say they don't keep track of other teams all they want. This time of the year, when you're winning and things are going good, you keep track of everybody.
Second down and 10. Blake is going to be sacked. And it was Ron Woodson who got him. That is sack number 5. That matches the Steelers' total of last week against the Raiders. They had 5. Now on the year, they have 50.
Don't lose track of him, Jeff. Because he's coming after you. He's had the interception for 6. Now he is getting after you.
There is Mike Brown, the head man of the Cincinnati Bengals, and he has a rebuilding process. You talked about part of it. I think one place that right now that they feel that they do not have to rebuild is that with young Jeff Blake, the quarterback. You know, he is still in the learning process. This was just dumped over the middle. Pass is complete to Steve Broussard. Broussard down the sideline and out of bounds after picking up the first down. We've got delayed flags coming down as he is out inside the 22.
There's a late hit by Ron Woodson, and the scuffle ensues. I tell you, Steve Broussard has very little back off on him. He's not the first guy you'd want to pick, regardless of his size, to get any kind of tussle with, because he won't back down from anybody.
And Steve Broussard, of course, is the one who missed a couple of ball games, was paralyzed on the field, had what the doctor said 2 dead legs. He came back and went through all the tests. The test said fine. And he's back playing again. Played last week and playing again this week. 25 yards on the play. That kind of gets all of the adrenaline going again with 9:42 left to go. I don't know what the conference is about. Maybe about the
exactly how far is half the distance to the goal line is what the conference is probably about.
Well, it's probably about the scuffle that was after the flag.
Have another look here. Blake hangs, dumps this screen, and watch the job that Broussard does getting outside now, going for the corner. He's obviously heading out of bounds. He's out of bounds.
Oh yeah, a couple of steps.
That's easy.
Now, what is not easy is the confrontation that took place after that.
Not really.
Here we go.
On the defense, late hit out of bounds on number 26. Well after the play, also 26, face mask. Personal foul, face mask. We will go half the distance for the first foul, and then an additional half the distance for the second.
Rod Woodson pleading his case. Rod, you're going to lose it. That's one of the few things that we're sure about. He didn't get upset till the face mask is what I think that he was talking about.
Well, if anything else, at the end of this day, the officials will have had about all of the Pittsburgh Steelers' opinions they can handle.
I think you're right.
Between the players and Bill Cowher, they have gotten a face full of Pittsburgh Steelers today.
Well, the ball is placed at the 5-yard line. It will be first down and goal to go. 31-7, Steelers comfortably in front. Look from the outside. Here is a pitch, a halfback pass. Broussard throws, in zone, touchdown. Steve Broussard, no. He drops it. Jeff Cochran, the rookie from Ohio State, was wide open.
And watch how much time he has to watch this ball, because this is not exactly a classic pass, but it's right where he's got a chance to catch the ball. It drops right straight down in the hands. And you saw it wasn't a pass knocked away by the defender. It actually, when he went to bring it down, the ball bounced off of Darren Perry's head, the safety.
So it's second down and goal to go. Timing pattern, leap down, incomplete. Jeff Blake has a look at what else can go wrong. Pickens, the intended receiver, in the corner. Pickens just kind of jogging towards the corner.
Well, it's been a good combination, but with his current mental state of mind, I don't know if you want to attack Mr. Woodson too often, because that was a case where the ball was put in the perfect spot. Woodson just stripped that one arm away and denied the catch. That's why the guy's an all-pro.
Third down, goal to go. Blake, quick drop, pump fake, now he keeps. And he dives and reaches, touchdown.
Well, there's a little something for the Bengals to build on. You get that kind of play, that kind of desire, that kind of fire out of your quarterback. It gets contagious. Because remember, this is not a very big guy, but as soon as he starts running, he's thinking end zone any way I can. Hit, and reach for 6.
And they should go for 2. 31-13, and they will. Blake rolls to the near side on the option. He keeps, he scores. So he scores 8 points. Nice fight and a nice move.
What kind of an extra kind of a added spice does this guy add? When was the last time you saw an option, an effective option run in the NFL?
Jim was the
Head coach Dave Shooter, you expect the onside kick. We expect it. The Steelers do not expect it.
We got 2 linebackers in Ed Robinson and Levon Kirkland up front, so they're expecting it not to be an onside, but there's no reason not to from the Bengals standpoint.
The Steelers do not have their hands team there. 9:07 time remaining in the ballgame. And here is Lee Johnson. And this is just a deep squib type kick back to the 30-yard line, where it was picked up by one of the upbacks and then scooted forward for 5 or 7 yards. And so the Steelers will now go to work. Are you surprised they did not go with the onside kick?
I really am. And what do you got to lose? You got 9 minutes to go in the game, and you're down by 16 points at this point to a team that's pretty well dominated you. You're going to put an offense in a situation with a running game and an efficiently throwing quarterback like Neil O'Donnell. They'll run 7 minutes off this clock right now, just holding on to the ball.
Neil O'Donnell told us that the fans in Pittsburgh, they are tough, very knowledgeable, very loyal. He says they are tough. They are on you on every mistake.
Well, fans get spoiled when they have teams that win 4 Super Bowls.
And here's John L. Williams, and he's going to pick up about 5 yards on the play. Let's go back to Neil O'Donnell. And when you win Super Bowls, you have a quarterback as a superstar. And here's a super comparison.
Well, really, I mean, here's a guy, Terry Bradshaw, out of Louisiana Tech, first 4 years. He got absolutely nearly run out of town until they won a Super Bowl, and he turned into the great player he was by about the 2nd, 3rd, 4th Super Bowls that they were winning. But here's a look at the first 4 years, and clearly O'Donnell is a quarterback that throws much more conservative type passes, throws much for more yards and less interceptions.
And here's John L. Williams again, and he'll pick up the first down as he goes almost to the 50-yard line. And let's go back to that comparison one more time. Neil O'Donnell, he's so quiet, you know, and when we talk to him, and he's such a nice young man, and he says, you know, I don't throw a lot of interceptions, and you know, I'm not that flamboyant. I just go out and play football. Well, and plays it very well.
I can think of 2 comparisons when you look at that stat that Terry had going for him. And those are John Stallworth and Lynn Swann. Those are his receivers. He doesn't have that luxury right now, Neil O'Donnell. He's got young, very aggressive and talented guys, but nobody in the class of those 2.
And it's a first down. John L. spins out of a would-be tackler. Great move, and he picks up about 8. One of the other things that he is doing is he is giving Bam Morris a well-deserved rest, because Bam literally carried the offense on his very broad shoulders through most of this game.
Well, he set the pace early, and who really set the pace along with Bam Morris is that offensive line that opens up a huge hole again over that left side. Duval, Love, Jackson was there. You got Solomon now at left tackle. They just moved that entire left side of the defensive line out of the way. I guess we call it above average, Charlie? Above average is the best in the league.
Yes. Above average. Now, left side. He'll come up about a yard shy. It'll be 3rd down and 1. But if you've been with us throughout this afternoon, you know that one of the 2 things that the Steelers have feasted on, the shoulders of Bam Morris, and the other is 3rd down opportunities, because they have converted around 80 to 85% of all 3rd down opportunities.
And that's been to a large degree, I think, because of the execution of Neil O'Donnell. The running game's been very effective. And that running game being effective has allowed Neil O'Donnell to complete some very high percentage passes for Bill Cowher and for the offense of Ron Earhart, his offensive coordinator. Earhart puts O'Donnell in positions to succeed, not to risk failure.
And here's another 1st down and another 3rd down conversion. Again, it's John L. Williams. Now, you saw that shot of Bill Cowher on the sideline when we talked to him yesterday. We saw him last Sunday in the ball game against the Raiders, in which they really shut the defense. They just completely shut down any offense the Raiders might want. He said, you know, I kind of enjoyed the 4th quarter because it was the first time this year that I knew that we had it pretty well in the bag and I could relax. I think he has now finally, for his sake, the same feeling, you know, right there. Keep the water out of your eyes, run the ball, and...
You see that profile? Yeah. He's got the chin working pretty good still, so there's something bothering him.
We should tell him. I'll tell you what's bothering him. They being the Steelers, made an inordinate number of mistakes in the 1st half. John Williams off the right side.
But remember, I mentioned early in the 1st half, Charlie, that a team like the Steelers, who want to be one of the best teams in the league, have to have a very business-like approach. And that's what I mentioned last night to Bill Cowher in our meeting. And he agreed in saying that, yeah, I mean, you've got to go into games. A coach can only psych his team up and pump them up for so many games a year. And he knows down the line this year, he's got the Cleveland Browns at home. His team will get pumped for that, but he's got to help pump them up. He's got to go on the road to San Diego. He's got to help pump them up for that. This is a game with talent and execution. You've got to beat this kind of opponent, and so far they have.
And this is also a game that a win here will clinch you at least a wild card, as Fred McAfee is the ball carrier. And the remaining schedule of the Pittsburgh Steelers, they return home for Philadelphia. We'll join them in a couple of weeks for that showdown with Cleveland. That's going to be a great one. And then they spend Christmas Eve in San Diego against the Chargers. We have a timeout, 4:36 left to go. We'll be back in just a moment. For Neil O'Donnell, it has been a very workmanlike afternoon. 16 of 23, 128 yards and a touchdown.
And that's the kind of performance you expect in a Ron Earhart kind of an offense, whether it's Phil Simms, Jeff Hostetler, Scott Bruner, whoever you put in there. His job is to be efficient and not make mistakes. That's exactly what O'Donnell's done.
And here is John L. Williams, 3rd down, and he will come up a yard shy of the 1st down, so we'll look for another long field goal attempt. Tim Crumrye makes the tackle. And the Steelers, of course, battling with the Cleveland Browns as Cincinnati takes a timeout here, and Cleveland's remaining schedule. They are at Dallas. Dallas currently leading in their ball game, and a victory for them would mean that they are the champions of the East. But in that ball game against Cleveland, no letdown because
of home field advantage. You know, teams can say they don't pay attention to that, but Cleveland's thinking home field advantage. Dallas is thinking home field. San Diego is. Pittsburgh is. San Francisco. You know, San Francisco's clinched theirs. Dallas has clinched theirs. Pittsburgh and Bill Cowher have clinched at least a wild card with this win here, but, you know, really they could care less. They're worried about that home field advantage.
And, of course, in 2 weeks, as you saw on the schedule, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, and that game will be covered on NBC. And a chance to check out the 10-minute ticker and see what all is going on. New England still leading the Jets 17-13. Greg Gumbel gave us the update on the last score. There's the Dallas score that we were talking about. They are out in front of Philadelphia with just over 4 minutes to go in the 4th as we go back to work here. 4th down and a yard and a half. They're going to go for it. Why not? You're up 31-15. You want to run some more time off the clock. And just slipping and sliding through is John L. Williams. Let's see if he made it. Going to be very close. Steve Tovar again was there for the Cincinnati Bengals.
They measure this here. It's going to be that same. Remember that point of the ball that Corey Sawyer didn't get the back of it? It's going to be the back of the ball again here on this measurement. It'll be extremely close. You know, we saw that score with New England and the Jets. What kind of a job has Bill Parcells done this year in New England? I mean, with a team that is not really that good. That is a team that's going to be very strong, and I'm saying about 2 years they will be a possibly dominating team, but not now. He's done an excellent job adjusting to his talent.
And it is a first down for the Steelers, so the clock will start to move again. 4:07 and counting. And here is John L. Williams. He has been the bulk of this entire drive, working on the Bengals, working also on the clock. James Francis makes the tackle for Cincinnati. Now we go back to a decision that was made earlier by the Bengals, and that was they did not go with the onside kick. And it played right in the hands of the Steelers. The Steelers are just tick, tick, tick. The clock runs away.
Exactly what we talked about. You know, it was one of the risks Dave Shula was running when he did an onside, was that this physical offense was going to say, well, you see the clock? Now you don't. We're going to take it away, and that's all they're going to do here. They want to get their yards in 3- and 4-yard chunks and keep the ball for about another 2.5 minutes.
And Cincinnati hoping that their defense would be able to make the change. Here's Fred McAfee as he carries for the second time in this drive. And they go to the 18-yard line. Alfred Williams with the tackle for Cincinnati. And now for the Cincinnati Bengals. They are at the New York Giants and at Arizona. Then on Christmas Eve they have Philadelphia here. And there's no question that they have some problems. And they, as you mentioned earlier, they do need a lot of help.
They're losing games, and there's never a moral victory in the NFL. You talked about there's no bad teams, there's teams with bad records. Well, the Bengals are a team right now that are just about good enough to lose to just about anybody. They're not quite good enough to pull those games out. They need a win late to give them some confidence. They've got confidence in their quarterback, Jeff Blake. They need confidence in the team.
Here's the sweep to the right side. McAfee the ball carrier. And he is inside the 15, the 14-yard line. Clock continues to move. Snake Benson with the tackle.
Well, one thing you do when you're running outside here, whatever you do, you cut it inside. You don't go near the sideline to stop the clock. Good job by Leon Cersei kicking out on Vincent. You saw Williams support and McAfee just run right through him.
And so now the clock reads 2:18 and counting, time remaining. And the Steelers will need to get off one more play before the 2-minute warning. Second down and 2. 31-15, Pittsburgh in front. And again, here's Fred McAfee. And he'll go just to the 10-yard line, and the 2-minute warning will now be given to both benches. We'll step aside. We'll be back in just a moment.
How much closer?
All game. Bam Morris has rushed for 108 yards. John L. Williams has rushed for 64. That's a total of 172. The Bengals, total rushing offense, 57 yards. That's less than John L. Williams. Third down, a couple of yards to go for the first down. And McAfee off the right side. Oh. Now there is a collision.
It's also a first down. It was a heck of a hit.
Yes, it is.
A first down.
Darrell Williams. The employee owners of Avis salute the game's most valuable player. It is Bam Morris, is the winner of today's We Try Harder award.
Just an example of what this young guy did. He came in here as basically who's going to be the back, had to carry this load. Got a good performance from the offensive line, but the big rookie out of Texas Tech, 24 carries, 108 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Avis, the official rental company of the NFL. First down, goal to go. Here's a little sweep to the left side. McAfee around the corner. Ball pops loose. Flags go flying. He may have stepped out at the 3-yard line. The ball went scooting into the end zone. Now, if he was stepped out of bounds before the ball popped loose, he is out of bounds. But let's see what the flag is about.
I don't know if he fumbled the ball as much as it was knocked out.
There is no foul on the play. The runner was out of bounds before the pass was thrown forward.
Yeah, they threw that flag for fumbling the ball forward, but watch him step out right now. He's out, and so is the ball. That ball was coming loose. He wasn't trying to throw that ball loose.
So he steps out at the 3-yard line. And it's second down.
There's no better way to describe this offense, though, Charlie, than brutally efficient. When they say that we're going to beat you, they mean we are going to beat on you.
Little play action fake all alone in the end zone. Touchdown, Jonathan Hayes. His first touchdown. Look at that smile. First touchdown of the year. Save that ball. That's what he would say.
Well, Jonathan Hayes, longtime tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Came here as a backup for Eric Green. You saw how wide open Eric Green was on this play to the other side. Jonathan Hayes might have been more wide open, and he didn't catch that as much as he cradles that.
Look at that smile. Think he was a little nervous? That is only his 5th reception of the year. Here's the extra point attempt. And there it is. So add more to the total of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they are out in front 38-15 with 1:06 to go. Program note, tonight the Colonists are in grave danger when one of their own turns out to be a traitor. An exciting
excellent. And Mercedes is excellent. Bridges is good. That's a great movie.
And Jonathan Hayes, look at it. He's got the ball. And look at that smile. Isn't that great?
You are getting that ball back.
That tells it all. I've got it right there, and I'm going to keep it. After the game, he'll take it into the shower, clean up. It's never going to leave his side. He'll have it on the plane going home tonight.
That ball will be painted as he explains his story there to Kevin Green and Greg. Well, maybe those two guys can take that one away from Jonathan if they really wanted it. They seem to take everything else away from teams. But, you know, Jonathan get that thing painted up. My first touchdown as a Pittsburgh Steeler. And, you know, who knows in Pittsburgh, this may be a very special year and a year you want one of those painted balls from.
Eric Ball and Adrian Hardy are the deep backs on the return. The kickoff will go out of bounds, so that'll be 30 yards from the spot that they kicked off. They'll bring it out to the 40-yard line, and Cincinnati will have possession with 1 minute and 6 seconds left to go in the ballgame.
And really, David Shula and his entire organization have a, to say it lightly, have a heck of a building program here. This is one of those organizations, though. You know, you see Mike Brown, their general manager. It's frustrating at times to sort of get a handle on exactly what the plan is. They drafted a David Klingler a couple of years ago and didn't really get him the weapons of the line or anybody to go with it. And now Klingler's out of favor. They're starting to get a few linemen and weapons, and now Jeff Blake's back. It's, you know, what exactly is the plan? Is the plan to win as many games as possible and get your team back into the Super Bowl? Or is the plan to do other things and sort of go through this whole deal, maybe get yourself a new stadium, but make a lot of money?
But right now, the plan is Eric Wilhelm, who is their number 3 quarterback. He is the inactive quarterback. So that means as he comes in, the other 2 quarterbacks, they being Jeff Blake and David Klingler, cannot come into the ballgame. And he is in with 1:06 left to go. Now, he has no stats this year, no rushes and no throws. And he hands off. And this is going to be Jeff Cochran. He's going to pick up about 3 yards off of the right side. And Ed Robinson is going to make the tackle. As we now have less than a minute. Be sure to stay with us for our post-game show here on NBC as Greg Gumbel and all of his coaching associates will be updating us on what is going on throughout the NFL thus far today and what we can look forward to later on today.
Well, I'll be curious to hear from the 2 Super Bowl coaches, Joe Gibbs and Mike Ditkin. See what they have to say about this Pittsburgh Steelers team. They've both been in positions like this with a team that has really pounded on people and dominated people at the right time of the year, and they've both been in the Super Bowl and know how to handle these kinds of teams.
31 seconds, that is the time remaining as Jeff Cochran goes out of bounds for Cincinnati. 38-15. The Steelers, their record will now go to 10-3, and the Cincinnati Bengals record will go to 2-11 with the loss.
When you talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, Charlie, we can talk about the special teams and the offense and whatnot. It's that defense. Like last week when I asked Bill Cowher, you got a team that looks like it's about to become dominant. He says, well, there's a lot of dominance. I said, no. Hold on, Coach. There's no other team out there that's got your defense. He sort of smiles and says, yeah, that's right.
That is true. There's no question about that. Cochran gets the call, and he's going to get a yard, maybe 2 on the play. And that could well wrap up the ball game for both the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. And the crowd that is remaining here with a cheer going up for the valiant survivors this afternoon. The Steelers defeating Cincinnati by a score of 38-15. And the 2 head coaches meet in the middle of the field. And so Cincinnati, they still continue in their quest to try to get on the winning side of the ledger to go with their 2 victories. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, they do look like Super Bowl material.
They'll get a chance to prove it in the next 3 weeks, Charlie.
The final score, once again, Steelers win it 38-15. Coming up next, Head and Shoulders NFL Live post-game report. Greg Gumbel, Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs with all the scores and the highlights.